what to submit in the assignment. The assignment is anyways going to be submitted by you today. So yesterday, what you went through is you could just complete those 3 steps. Next 3 steps, once I take you through today, which is now, post that.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but the link for submission of assignment is not working, I believe. So can you send us a correct link on which we can submit it?
Sure, I think Professor Law just now dropped another link in the chat box.
You can continue the session. I will send you. You will all get it now.
Yeah. Anyways, you will submit it tonight. So no worries on that. You are not required to submit it yesterday. So that's fine. That way it is okay. Because I am going to complete the next 3 steps today. Okay. Now, I will do a little recap, and I will require a little help from your end to do this recap. So can you just tell me that what all things that we did under problem identification? Anybody volunteer? There were 3 steps that we did, right? What was the first step?
First, we will identify the problem.
Yeah, that's under problem identification. There was one step.
Then we will decide the system.
Correct. I see Anushka ma'am writing, yes, job to be done. Understanding, job to be done. If you remember, we spoke about Clayton Christensen's video of a McDonald's milkshake, and job to be done was the first step. The second step, what was the second step? Identify and analyze the system. Absolutely right. That's we call the system analysis, which is where what we did is we broke the system into parts. We called them subsystems, and finally, what we did is we actually also look at the supersystems, which is components with which the system interacts. Right. Then there was a third step. Yes, interaction matrix. Yes, we made an interaction matrix. We identified the subsystems in the supersystem, whether they are interacting or not. Today, we will start off with how they are interacting. And from there on, we will take the next 2 stages. And finally, the last stage, which is formulation of the how might be question, that will give you the problem statement, or rather, after going through Professor Rao's presentation today, I will also like to rephrase from problem statement to challenge statement. What challenge statement should we be trying to solve? Okay. And in case if you have already submitted your assignment today, please submit it once more so that all the 6 steps are there. Okay, because yesterday you could have just done the 3 steps. Your submission requires all the 6 steps. Finally, the how might be question formulation is the most important step. So in case you have done once, please remember to submit it once more. Okay. So these are the 3 things that we did. You already have spoken about it. I'm not going into details anymore. Now, yesterday we had the interaction matrix done, and now we are going beyond it to analyze the interactions. Okay, and what do we do in analysis of the interactions? This is the interaction matrix that we had yesterday. By the way, I have a question. When you look at this interaction matrix, there is one mistake in this matrix. Okay, there is a problem. Can you identify and to give you a clue? Horizontal and vertical to content, the horizontal and the vertical blocks of content, there is one problem. Can you tell me what is the problem?
Sir, I think the transpose is not correct.
Absolutely. Content and evaluation. Content and no, yes, virtual infrastructure.
Yes,
correct.
That is missing.
Yeah, there is one plus sign missing. So I identified it yesterday while I was doing it. Then I thought of changing, but I didn't do. I thought let me see this, because this also revises you that what we were supposed to do is just directly transpose it. We are not supposed to make any differences. The horizontal and vertical axis should be symmetric. Same thing should be coming. Yes, absolutely right. So now this was our interaction matrix, right? We are going to provide it a pictorial representation. Okay, and this pictorial representation is called function modeling. We are going to do a function modeling of the different components. So whatever this was, we are going to put it in a picture mode now, and it will look like this. Every aspect, every component that you had under put under subsystems and the supersystems, see right now they are in pictures. Okay, first step is you put all the pictures in one single slide. Now you may ask that is there any specific way how I place it? The answer is no. There is no specific way. Okay, you can just put it. You have to have in that slide or in that paper all the components and the the subsystems and the supersystems. Fine. You do this, then you look back into your interaction matrix and you check that. Say for example, I'll start with content. Okay, content is the first thing that we have. So I'll look at content. I am going row wise. Okay, and I'm trying to see how many plus signs are there. So there in content we have 4 plus signs. Okay, so what happens is in our picture like this, I will have to put 4 arrows. Okay, now these 4 arrows are with respect to the things that we have the plus signs with. So what all we had? We had 1 plus with schedule, 1 plus sign with trainer, 1 with learner, and 1 with the virtual infrastructure, right? So see here we have with the trainer 1 arrow, with the learner 1 arrow, with the virtual infrastructure 1 arrow, and with the schedule 1 arrow. Now, what important point over here to take is what we are trying to do here. Why are we doing this? What we are trying to do is, first we identified that there is an interaction. Now we are trying to give this interaction a name. What is happening to it? Okay, so when you see that the content is doing something to the learner, the arrowhead will be towards the learner. And if I believe that the learner is doing something to the content, then the arrowhead will be towards the content. In this case, my logic wise, the learner is doing something to the content. You may also say that, why is it so? The content also is doing something to the learner. If you believe so, then what you will do? You will put another arrow here and you will say that the content is doing something to the learner is doing something to the content. What it is doing will come next. So similarly, this virtual infrastructure is doing something to the content. This schedule is doing something to the content, and the trainer also is doing something to the content. What are they doing? Just 1 minute. Yeah, they are doing this. The learner is actually, this is again, let me put it this way. When you create this interaction matrix, as I always mentioned before also, it has to be your logic. Okay, you have to be clear about what logic you are coming out with. My logic is the content is made by the trainer. So the trainer creates content. Okay, the schedule is something that is controlling the content. Why is it so? Because if you remember yesterday, you said that we need to have some breaks in between also. Now, keeping that in mind, Professor Rao somehow managed his, whatever he was presenting, somehow he managed to finish off within 3:30 so that you at least get a 10-minute break. Now, the whole content, see, it is getting controlled by the schedule that is available, right? So schedule also is doing something to the content. Similarly, this virtual infrastructure, that's also doing something. You remember the first day, most of you were saying that we are not able to see the screen, the sharing is not happening. There was some infrastructure problem, right? Virtual infrastructure problem. Either it's the network or it is Google Meet acting up, something or the other was happening that day, right? Individually, all of us are using our own laptops, our own systems. So interaction of all these things are having some impact. So the virtual infrastructure is supposed to display the content. And if it is not able to display the content, then it's a problem to be addressed. Okay. And as a learner, you are trying to understand the content. Now, I had a logic also, which I think most of you may agree, which is the content is enriching the learner. That can also be an arrow that when, the learner is understanding true, but when the content goes into the learner is getting enriched, right? So you can put that as well. I have not put it here, but you can put that as well. Now, there is a logic of the arrows that we are using. There are 3 types of arrows that generally we will be using when we make this model or the function model. This is called the function model. Okay. First arrow that you saw right now in this model that we made, it's the blue arrow. Okay, blue arrow generally is put when there is something happening. Nothing, we cannot say it's bad. It's something good happening. So say for example, the learner is understanding the content. This is good only. This is good to happen, but it can be made better. So wherever you see there is a possibility to improve, you use the blue line. If you see that it's perfect, everything that is happening is perfect and it is doing good, you use a green line. Okay. And if you see something is there which is causing a problem, then it's a red line. In this case, the FDP that we are talking about, and when I do the function model of the FDP, most of the time you will see we will be using blue lines. We are not going to use either red line or green line. Why? Because most of the things that we are bringing up, you will see that you don't see exactly any negative impact happening, but you see a possibility of improvement in everything. In every area, you see a possibility of improvement. Okay, just to give you an idea how it should look like, let's look at something which has less number of plus signs. And I am taking, let's say, two examples: virtual infrastructure and consumables. Okay, virtual infrastructure has 4 pluses, so there has to be at least 4 arrows, and consumables has 2 plus signs, right? So there has to be at least 2 arrows. Now see how it looks like. This virtual infrastructure has 4 arrows. Okay, it connects the learner to the whole FDP. That's why there is an arrow. Can be done better. Obviously, we saw in the first day there are issues, so we have to look into it also. If I put a green sign over there, I don't look into that. That's not a problem. Why are we creating this function model? You understand that main thing was problem identification, right? So once we create the function model, this will highlight where should I look, where the problem is right now. If you put a green arrow somewhere, then you are not at all looking at it. If you put blue arrows, you can still choose, okay, fine, I want to improve this. And if you have a red arrow somewhere, definitely you have to go and attack that first. At least all red arrows should be made into a blue arrow. You will try your best to convert all red arrows into a blue arrow. And if you have a blue arrow that you can convert into a green arrow, amazing, very good. Okay. So the virtual infrastructure also is connecting the trainer. We are also getting connected. That's why we can talk to you. This virtual infrastructure is displaying the content as it is happening right now. And when you are going to go for the evaluation, this will also display the evaluation, which is the assessment test. Test will come on to you, right? So it will display. That's why there are 4 arrows. And it also says what verb it is doing. We try to use the simplest verb. I'll come to it why we are using that. Similarly, consumables, which is food, it is expected to energize us. Sometimes it may happen that it is not doing its work fully. So that's why there is a blue arrow. Then I look at it and say that, you know what, today I had something sweet in lunch that is making me feeling a little drowsy. So it's not energizing. It's not doing its job well. So I have to look back and say that what change in the consumable do I need to do? Okay, that becomes important. Similarly, it is energizing you as a learner also. Fine. Now, I will show you how it looks like as a whole. This is complete. Okay. You see, there is a lot of arrows over here, right? Now, how many arrows are there? The same number of arrows are there, which is the number of plus signs that we have in the interaction matrix. Now, the question that somebody asked yesterday, why we are doing the interaction matrix, is that when you are creating this function model, while you start creating, it becomes very confusing. Okay, you will tend to miss where you should be putting arrows. Interaction matrix is a check. It actually allows you to count the number of plus signs with each of this. So for example, I just want to know the trainer, how many plus signs should be there with the trainer. When I look at here, you see there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8 plus signs must be there with the trainer. If I go back to the interaction matrix, I see that with the trainer there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 plus signs. Now when I am making the function model, I may get confused that where should I be putting. But the moment I see here that at least 8 plus signs should be there, then I can go back and see that whether I have given all the arrows. And two things that you are remembering while you are giving this. One is you have to define who is acting on what. The trainer is creating the content. The food is energizing the trainer. The trainer is following the schedule. If you have a different logic that no, the schedule actually is doing something to the trainer, probably controlling the trainer, yes, you can go ahead and put an arrow, but the arrowhead has to be towards the trainer then. Okay. And you have to use a simple verb. Why do we use this? I'll come to it. Before that, I need to take some questions from your end. If there is any question that you want to ask. Yes, there is a question that can it be a double arrow? You rather than putting a double arrow, you rather put two arrows, two separate arrows. Why do you do that? Because when you put double arrow, you are going to put two different verbs. So rather than putting two different verbs, if you put rather than putting one arrow and two verbs, if you put two different arrows, you know where all things are happening. In fact, there can be multiple things that one thing is doing. You can put multiple arrows also. Not only it has to be two, you can put more than two as well. Okay. Any questions on this till now? This is not a very easy concept to understand. So you may have some questions. In case you have questions, please feel free to ask. Everybody clear on till this?
Sir, suddenly it gets confusing which connects to which, right? Many of them.
Yeah. So that's why what I did is I am not showing you this. Okay. Look at only this. When you start doing your own stuff, right? And I am using this FDP example mainly to explain you. Yes, milkshake, I will show you. I have not completed the milkshake part. I'll get it done with a few of the arrows. I'll get it done with you only. I have it ready. I'll show you. The FDP.
Yeah. I have a doubt. Can a arrow end both the ends? That means reverse connection can we find?
Yeah. That's what. So it can be. Let me. Right now you can see this. No, what I am showing right now. So the learner on my left hand side, he is understanding the concept of the content. Whatever is getting discussed here, you are understanding it. That's why I am saying that there is an arrow. The arrowhead is going towards the content. The learner is understanding the content. Now, if I say that when I am completing this content, this is enriching you, enriching your knowledge of design thinking, then I can have another arrow. The arrowhead this time will be towards you. The content in the knowledge of design thinking, that is also possible. So you can have both side arrow, no problem. But better not to use in a single arrow in a single line double arrow. It's better to use two different arrows. In case you have a logic where you see that I want to use multiple arrows, I see not only it enriches me, it does A, B, C to me. Okay, go ahead, put it 1, 2, 3. You can put more than one arrow. Okay. And ma'am, I was answering your question to how you can control getting confused. Sometimes this is actually a very confusing thing, but you should not get confused. Why? Because the last slide that I showed, which was this, I didn't make it at a go. It takes time to make it. How it works? It starts with this. You start slow. You first look at only content. Okay. So you look at content and you see there are 4 plus signs. And 4 plus signs are with schedule, trainer, learner, and virtual infrastructure. So you go back, you put first the 4 arrows. Okay, nothing else. And then you start thinking, which direction, where should I put the arrowhead? Should it be going to the content or should it be coming to the virtual infrastructure? Once you decide that, you put the arrowheads first, and then you decide, so what it is doing. Then you use the verb that it is doing. Okay. And once you are done with content, you are not even looking at content. Your column of content is done. Column, row, both done. Next, you are moving to schedule. Now you go back to schedule. sorry, you go back to schedule and you see that, okay, how many plus signs are there? I have 1, 2, 3, 3 plus signs. One with content. Since content I have already covered, so schedules plus sign with content is already done. So I actually have to put 2 more arrows, one with the trainer, one with the learner. So if you go to this, you see with schedule, there are 2 more arrows that we have used here, and there is also, I think, see, there is a problem. You can see I have put an extra arrow somewhere here. It may so happen that you have put an extra arrow over here. So what I do is, I'll in front of you right now, let me change this, okay? And see, now how many arrowheads do I have? 3. There was one extra before. There was one coming from the learner, though I don't have any reason to put something happening to the schedule from the learner's end. Did you get the point?
I think the PPT is not presented. It is got disconnected.
Oh, sorry.
Thank
Now
you,
is it?
sir. Thank
We can
you.
do that.
But
We can-
let's say it's got no in real time. It might not be just one. The arrowhead, as you say, probably is not one way, right? It could be 2 ways also, right? So, I mean, see, for example, I feel that content has something to do in the evaluation. The evaluation has to be obviously with reference to the content that was actually taken into, right? So,
Okay.
say, for example, it could be interconnected in a way also, right?
Yeah. See, if you say, for example, right now, let me use this part. I will just a moment. Let me save this as a trial. Okay, and I think now I have to share it once more. And yeah, I am saving this as a different name because I'll do it with you. Okay. So for example, let's take your call, ma'am, that content is doing something to the evaluation. Okay. So and now tell me, what do you think the content is doing to the evaluation? Is the content doing something to the evaluation, or the evaluation is doing something to the content?
I mean, evaluation is directly related to content, right?
Related is one thing, and interaction is another thing. Okay. Things can be related. There is that's a different concept. But when we create function model from interaction matrix, we are going to say that whether it is doing anything. Like, say, for example, we said schedule. Schedule is actually controlling my content, because the moment we decided that we need to get a 5-minute out of whatever we are going to talk, probably I reduce the content of 1 or 2 slides. I reduce 1 or 2 slides, right? So what is happening? My content is getting shrink if my schedule is tightening it. So it has an interaction directly, right? But now,
so you mean to say, I mean, the schedule is actually having an influence over content. Is that what you say?
yeah, it is changing something in the content. Either it is making, so if, say, for example, if we have 3 hours to do this, the number of slides I have is going to be more. The content that I'm going to talk about is going to be more, right? Again, when it is, I have to deliver the same thing in half an hour, the number of slides also will be less. The things that I will be speaking also will be less. So the length of the content is getting influenced by the schedule, by the time that is available, right?
Okay, I got your points, sir. Just I'm not critical. I'm just trying to understand it from.
Yes, go ahead and understand.
I'm sorry about it if I'm
no, there is
worrying too much.
No problem at all. You just ask, because this is not an easy concept. It's
now, say for example, if it is like, I mean, I design a course. Like say for example, if we're doing it for academics, right? We might probably do it for three months or 4 months. Okay. And the syllabus is set to that particular period in time. That is, let's say if it is a three credit program, 4 credit program, whatever. Right. So we have that many hours of teaching or interaction, and plus this many hours of self-learning, etc. Right. So that is how we develop the schedule, or probably the content is fitting into the schedule. So where is this concept of actually shrinking the content with respect to the I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? I mean, it's not read separately is my point.
Okay, okay, man. Got your point. Got your point. So sometimes what happens is when you have, it's something like this. If you have a big container, and if you are putting something into it, if the container is big, you don't really care whether the container size is this much or this much, because the content is anyways going to go and fit into it, right? What you're saying is, since I have the time, I have the complete time, should I be concerned about it? No, if you don't see that it has something to it is not actually impacting your content or the thing that you're going to put into it, then don't consider it. This
Okay.
is here for the FDP, this is important.
It's
But
taken as an example to cite it. I mean, it is up to
exactly,
the
exactly.
perceiver to actually guess what he or she wants out of it, right?
Exactly. In fact, you may, in your case of designing your course, you may find other aspects which are not taken into account here, because that may not be important here. But for you, you may find there are other things which are making more sense. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Samson.
No problem.
Mr. Mukherjee,
Yes.
I want to say one thing. When we put plus and negatives, positive and negative signs in the table, that means, can I say that when it positively changes things, we give plus sign, and when it negatively changes things, it's negative sign?
No, sir. No, not like that. Plus is there is an interaction. It's like binary, whether it is there or it isn't there. So plus means it is there. And what you are mentioning, that whether it is positively doing something or negatively, that is coming when we are talking about the three arrows I showed you, that red arrow, green arrow. I'll just show you that image also. Yeah, this one. You remember? So blue arrow was something that you can improve upon. You want to improve upon. Green arrow is doing things perfectly good. Everything is fine. And the red arrow is something that's not doing good. You want to attack that. So a good example for this is, shoe. A shoe. When you are designing a shoe, the shoe is going on the surface. Right now, you need the surface, because without that, there is not going to be any frictional force to take you forward. So it is required that you interact with the surface. So there is a green, but at the same time, during this interaction, what's happening? Your shoe sole is wearing off. Now that's a red. Now your innovation will come in how you can ensure the green stays but the red vanishes. Can you make a shoe which does not wear off but provides you the same friction? It's not sliding, but it's not wearing off also. Like that, the concept is like that. That's why you use the different colored arrows. Okay. Yeah, there was another question was coming, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
Actually, hello, sir. This is Deepikanta Chakravarti. So I'm actually trying hard to understand this here. To some extent, I understood. Just want to, know these arrows, how things are connected. Yesterday also, I tried to understand, because it's from social science I am from. So I'm just trying hard to, understand this one. So can you please go for a very brief revision of what you said, starting from the arrows?
Yes, sure, ma'am. I'll do that. I am staying here in this non-presentation mode only. I'll explain you through this. So first thing that you do is, you had this interaction matrix. We completed till here. And first you look at just content. Okay, nothing else. Only content first, row wise. You look row wise. Row wise, when you see content, you see there is schedule and there is a plus sign. So you know that with schedule, there has to be one arrow. Number of plus signs means number of arrows that you have to put in the function model. Okay. So schedule is a plus sign. Trainer, I had made a plus sign. Okay. Learner also I made a plus sign, and virtual infrastructure I made a plus sign. Once I have counted the number of plus signs and with whom I have the plus signs, I just first put the plus signs, the arrows. Okay. Now, right now, I have not decided the head of the arrow or the color of the arrow. Randomly, because blue is the default PowerPoint color, it comes in blue only. Now, what happens is you have decided that, the virtual infrastructure infrastructure is displaying the content. Our laptop, our internet, all these are virtual infrastructure, and this virtual infrastructure is helping me to display the content. Okay, then you put over here the verb. So this is how it looks then, displays, and the color of the arrow is blue because it may so happen that sometimes we face problems, we want to improve that. Okay, and the arrowhead is towards the content because this virtual infrastructure is displaying the content. The content is not doing anything to the virtual infrastructure, right? The FDP is not doing anything to your internet connection or your laptop, right? The other way around. So the internet connection and the laptop is helping to display the content. So the arrowhead is towards the content. And okay. Now you could have said that this activity, just randomly I am saying that, for example, say there is certain content. Sometimes there are for children there are kind of content which is not good for them to see, right? So for example, there is such content, and here it is that the learner, I am talking not about the FDP, I am giving you another example and telling you.
Okay.
For example, this is a child. This child is viewing. I will change understand to views. This child views content, and then this content does something bad to the child, probably harms the child or create some problem to the child. So I create this arrow, then I go here and I make it red, and I say that this content harms the child.
Your screen is not seen here. Yeah.
You cannot see my screen?
No, sir, not the full screen.
Okay. No,
only
actually,
the taskbar.
Oh.
We can see, ma'am. I think you need to change the settings of how you are viewing the screen.
Please put it in slideshow.
Now, when
put it in slideshow mode.
I cannot edit. That's why I am showing it this way. So that.
Ma'am, you have to unpin his video, and if you unpin his video, automatically you will see the PPT.
Okay.
Unpin sentences video.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So what I just now did is I changed the blue arrow to the child viewing the content, and I created another arrow, made it red, because I am saying that this red arrow is harming this child. Oops. Okay. Fine. So now you realize that what is the relation, how we are creating these arrows, how we are making the color code and the direction of the arrow. Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So
thank you, sir.
No problem. I'll go back. Now I'll go back to the PowerPoint mode. So now somebody was asking the milkshake function model, how it will look like. Is there a question somewhere? Is red arrow really the gap? Sir, can you explain the question? I didn't get you. Padmanabhan sir, can you please explain the question? You said, is red arrow really the gap? Yes, there are 3 arrows. Red arrow means it's a negative thing. It's doing some harm. Okay, when we are trying to solve the problem or improve or create a new product, first we will try to eliminate all the red arrows and convert them into a blue arrow first. Stages of improvement is red becomes blue, blue becomes green. Okay, so in case there is a red arrow, you should first make it blue. Try to make it blue in your own way. We will come to how you do that. Ma'am, what we spoke of is the service model. How do we, so there is one question from Swati ma'am, I see. How do we do the service model? This is, when I explained the FDP, I took a process, which is a service. Same process and service will act same way. Now I will take an example of the product. So we had milkshake as a product. Let's look at the function model. It's half made. I didn't make the full function model. of the milkshake. I made just the half of it. I wanted to make it with you. So can somebody help me with this? Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Awesome. So can you help me with how should I filled a few things, okay? And you remember the problem that this guy was facing now? This guy, according to Clayton's extension, he was trying to get the grab hold of a milkshake, and he was moving out, and he wanted to feel energized while he is going to the office. So he's in a hurry to grab the milkshake, but while in the car, he's not in a hurry, and he wants to stay alive. I mean, feel alive, not stay alive. He is alive, of course. He wants to feel alive. So we have to provide him that. And also, he said that by the time he is going to reach office, he knows that he will be hungry. So we have to feed his stomach as well. Now, I have half filled this, and you can see milk in itself is filling his stomach. It's doing something good. This ice cream or cream or whatever you call it, or the chocolate, they are increasing the density of the milk in itself, right? And what it is doing to this guy, it's actually killing time for him. So he said that I want that through that straw, the narrow straw, it takes time for him to suck up the liquid, right? It takes time, and he wants to stay engaged while he's doing it. So these two things are actually killing time. Milk in that way is less in density, so it would have just vanished. Now, what we can do is to improve the whole overall experience, we can try out a few things which will come later. But before that, what I want you to help me with is, this is not a complete function model. There are a lot of arrows left. You see that there are so many plus signs, right? Can you help me with, just have a look at this interaction matrix. I'll zoom in a bit. Yeah. Can you help me with what am I missing? Where should I be putting the arrow? How the arrow head should be, and what's the color it should be? You just choose anything. I'm going back now. Tell me where should I be putting one arrow?
Straw and person.
Straw and person.
Person in red color.
Okay. So which direction the arrow head should be?
To the person. No, to the straw. The problem with straw.
The problem with straw is fine. Who is doing what? This individual is what is he doing to the straw? He is doing something to the straw. What is he doing? You are saying it has to be red. So you are saying there is something negative happening. Okay. Yes. What is the negative thing happening to the straw?
He is feeling pain. He is feeling difficult in getting that milk into the mouth.
No, what I feel, sir, it is the cream, and the red arrow should go like this.
Okay, yeah.
It is the cream, sir, because he is, getting. It is very difficult in consuming because he is in a hurry.
Correct. So okay, fine. That makes sense. But again, ma'am, let's look back to the problem. The problem is when this guy. So here now this is getting funny, because now we are looking from the human perspective. What is happening to this human being? This guy is not sucking the straw while he is inside the McDonald's, right? He is getting into the McDonald's, buying the milkshake. The straw is there. He is not doing anything over there. He's coming back to his car. Now he started driving. And if you remember what the video said, there in that this guy says that this narrow straw is actually keeping the whole liquid for so long. I am not able to suck up so easily, so that it stays with me throughout the long journey. So he's actually appreciating that the liquid is thick. So in that way, should this not be a green one, that it is actually thick enough?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Did you get the concept that this actually, now the question is, the cream is going through the straw.
Yeah.
Is during that time anything good happening? Just 1 minute. Yeah. So it's the good thing that is happening is over here. You can see cream is actually increasing the density of
Density
the
of milk.
the magic happens here. So this should be green. I will put this as green, and then I will look for where else can I make the whole thing more viscous, so that it takes more time. He is taking almost 1.5 hours, he said, 90 minutes to reach office. 90 minutes, something has to stay with him. Also has to fill his stomach, right? So we have to have more stomach filling things and also a few other stuff. Now, apart from this, where do you see there could be an arrow? Now, you rightly mentioned, sir, that there has to be something in between this straw and this guy. Now, if I put that, I'll just make it blue again, because it's not. Yeah, I'll make it blue. Now, what is happening? The straw is doing something to the person, or the person is doing something to the straw?
The straw helps him drink.
Straw helps him drink. That's a good point.
That
So
should be a green arrow or a blue.
that should be a green arrow. Fine, I put green. And what verb? Achha, by the way, I stopped here a bit, and I'll explain you a little on why we are using these verbs. So the purpose that I told you is to create this function model and show you how the interaction happens. We could have used any kind of verbs or any details. Further details also we could have put. But why these simple verbs? These simple verbs are used because if later on, when you see that you need to improve your system, you can easily compare it. So for example, here milk fills stomach, right? So some kind of filling activity is happening. Where else things can be, what else can fill something? You can fill beyond food. Mute yourself. Yeah. So, for example, say the straw is pulling the milk. Okay. Now I take this example. The straw is pulling the milk. Now there is a way it is pulling the milk. This pull as a verb has been used in other industries also. We can look at any other. Let's say, for example, I want to make this pulling activity more efficient. Okay. I want more liquid to be pulled through the straw. I want to improve it. Now, when I look at other industries, I will find that there are other industries who also do this pulling activity. Say, for example, oil industry also pulls from the bottom of the seabed, right? So you can hire ideas beyond your own industry the moment you use these simple verbs. Rather than pulling, if I would have used something which is very specific to the food industry, okay, chewing or something, we use something very specific to the food industry, then the ideas would not have come from other industries. The reason we use the simple verbs is to hire ideas from any other industries. Yesterday, day before, I guess, we spoke about this, that you can borrow ideas, and design thinking actually helps you to borrow ideas from multiple places. You remember we spoke about biomimicry? This is also one of the reasons why we use this simple verbs. Okay, now going back to the let's complete this one. The green arrow. You said that the straw is helping. Now, when rather than using a word help, because help is very generic, right? Can you use something which is more something that is more specific? Like say, like we said, pulls. It's some kind of a suction, right? What is this straw doing to this individual, or is the individual doing something to the straw? Isn't that so that the individual is creating a vacuum inside the straw? Because when we actually suck up, what we do, there is something inside the straw. We actually empty it, create a vacuum inside it, right? Then only the liquid flows up, right? Do you get the point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is very, very important for all those who are going to look for application of design thinking in new product development, because we are talking about hardcore products. You can use it in engineering also quite a lot. Okay, so rather than this way, you will find the application going this direction. Okay, this individual creates vacuum. I'm not putting the verb over here, but you can understand that he creates a vacuum inside the straw. Now, the moment you do that, you will realize that who else requires to create vacuum? You can hire ideas from elsewhere if you want to improve this process. Okay, this is how function model works. Is this part till now clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, great, awesome. So I'll go back to the presentation mode, and now we are in the fifth stage. Now this part, this is how you create the function model. If you have made a function model well enough, then you have almost 80% solved your problem. Okay, because this itself will give you enough ideas before even you move to the ideation stage, because it points out exactly where the problem lies. Fine. Now, when I go to the ideation next stage, which is deep dive is nothing but a process which we are very commonly knowing as why analysis, or the 5 why analysis, or multi-why analysis. Okay, deep diving into something. And how do you do that? Where do you start with? I am coming back to the FDP example, and there are two areas which I am, or rather saying that me, if you are also creating a course, or if you are trying to see that what is the problem that's happening with students when you bring them online, these are probably two things that you always want to improve upon. One, the content has to be such that the student understands it well. You all are experts in your own domain, so you already know how to create a content which the student understands more. You can go and deep dive into that also, but this is something that you can take care. But there is another point, which is the trainer is interacting with the student, which is fine, but the student is not interacting most of the time with the trainer, and that's a big problem, right? This is something that most of the teachers are saying, that nowadays the students, because the things are online, they keep their camera off and they're not interacting. Now, what you need to do is, we will be doing a why analysis of this, which is learners are not interacting. Okay, we are going to understand here, because you all are teachers yourself, most of you are. So what I thought is, rather than me putting the reasons why, let me gather from you. So let's first understand. By the way, do you agree that this is something that you are facing right now, that things becoming online, the level of interaction has reduced a bit? Do you agree to this? Have you seen this happening?
Yes.
Okay, and all of us, we want this to change, right? We want that students interact more. They may be having more questions, and when they start interacting, like we are having here, since you guys are interacting so much, the whole learning is getting enriched. Both sides, we are also learning, you are also learning. So this is important. Now, in that case, can you give me, as trainers, teachers yourself, at least few reasons why they are not interacting? I'll start typing as you tell me.
Sir, there is a problem in the design of the Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or whatever. We cannot see the faces and the PPT at the same time. Maybe in Meet you can see, but not in the Microsoft Teams and Zoom. We need 3 windows actually. We need one trainer, one student window, and one PPT window.
Okay. So
there is lack of design thinking there.
Yes. I think this is one good thing in Google Meet. I am actually, what is happening, I cannot see both at the same time, but I am using Alt tab all the time. The moment you guys are asking any question, I'm coming back to Google Meet. I can see who is asking or what, and then I can go back again. So this is a good thing in Google Meet. But yeah, I have also faced this. It's very difficult to keep a track. So can I write this as a technical problem? Technical problem is more generic. Let's put it this way, technical problem, because we can solve it easily. Fine. Other than that, any other pointers from your end?
Missing classroom ambience.
Missing classroom ambience. Okay. So you are saying they are missing class. By the way, let me ask you one thing. If they would have been in the classroom, what would have been different for them?
There must be other peers must be present there. I may be motivated to ask some question.
Okay, okay. Actually, we are deep diving. You see, we are actually going one layer below. So I'll put missing classroom experience, and I will further deep dive and say that what or why this matters. Then I can the question the answer that
Distraction.
distraction.
Non-verbal communication misses.
Non-verbal.
Like body language, their expression, we need to miss, which can actually give us the clue how they're
Sir,
following.
I feel even the students who
Distraction.
interact in normal classes are not interacting nowadays because they're lying down on a bed and they're not dressed up well, their hair is not done well. So they don't want to show their face in the class.
But tell me one thing: if in case they are not putting on their camera, but still they are interacting, that's also fine, right? Like right now, I cannot see you, but still you are interacting. Why
Actually, there is no
distraction.
penalization for no interaction, right? Probably in a classroom environment, you could probably, you could just ask him to stand or her to stand, and then we could probably probe further one question and the second question, and you could probably, motivate him to speak or her to speak. Whereas in an online classroom, nevertheless, you keep asking that, you will not be getting a response, right? So there is no kind of what do you say, questioning, or there's only a one-way interaction. I wouldn't even say it is a dialogue.
Yes, very true. It feels like we are talking to a wall instead of talking to the students, because they all have their cameras off, and it feels like, we're not looking at anyone.
Why we feel that is because in communication, maximum is done through non-verbal, your body language and all. So that is missing in this case.
Sir, actually, there is also some research has been done actually on, it was done on the usage of phones in adolescents and youth, and how that is impacting the cognitive abilities of humans and the communication, the eye movement, the hand gestures, the body language. When all that is missing, when you're just looking at phones and a camera or any screen, you actually lose on that cognitive sense of understanding somebody even by their eye movement. Earlier you used to say gesture se hi pehchan jana in Hindi. So that is missing, and research has already been done on screen time usage, and that's actually happening now because of online classes.
Okay. Yeah, I think these are very, very important things to take care, because it's big time impacting the students also. As you rightly mentioned, I also heard about some kind of research which was done, which says that the part of the body that is visible is not very comfortable for any kind of gesture. Because right now, actually, I saw myself. I was telling a lot of things like this, and then suddenly I saw that none of my hand gestures are visible to you. So yes, it's true. It's a big problem.
Sir, I spoke to a physiotherapist. They are saying they are flooded with youngsters also nowadays because of this 1 year of online classes.
True. It's harmful in so many ways. I mean, yeah, but at least one thing that you can see, that while you are discussing, I am trying to put those pointers under this YY analysis, and you see that the classroom experience. If I go to the center one, if you can see my screen, if learners are not interacting because they are missing classroom experience. And why does it matter? Because body language is missing, and most of our communication is non-verbal. That's what we have identified. And now, say for example, you stop here and you say that this is something that I want to tackle. That okay, non-verbal communication is not possible on online classes, and how can I ensure that even in an online class, the non-verbal communication can be noted? That's something that we can take as our problem statement. Also, in parallel, what I did is I kept one problem in mind. I mean, I just had put randomly that this may be one of the things, and that's why I kept that. Sometimes it may so happen that we tend to miss when we start our courses. We tend to miss to communicate exactly how this particular session is going to create some change personally in that individual, and that may be one of the reasons people don't communicate. So this is something that I had put as a 5 by, but not necessarily. I think what we got over here is more important, something that has to be taken care of. Now, now that we have completed our deep dive, this is deep dive. Deep dive is nothing but identifying through the function model where the problem is. And see, right now there are so many things, all are blue, but you have to decide that which one you want to improve upon. So since this was one of the biggest thing, when we got your responses in the part where you said that you want to improve the interaction that's happening right now because of online courses and all, we found a lot many people are talking about it. That's why I thought that let's talk about this. So similarly, for your function model, you have to decide part of which is most important for you. Okay, and then you decide that, okay, fine, I want to improve this. This is where the problem lies. This you could have, now some people may say, without even doing the function model, I could have found out. Yes, sometimes it happens that you can find out easily, but sometimes, believe me, both in product and process, you will find that the moment you create the function model, it comes out like an eye popper. You never have thought that this is where the problem lies. The moment you put it in a pictorial manner, things are visible to you. You can see that this is where you want to work upon. And the moment you know that, okay, there is a problem with the interaction of the student and the trainer, you keep on asking why. How many times are you going to ask why? Till where you feel that you can make some change. If it goes to, say, for example, you are going to a domain where you need the intervention of the government, then it's a big thing. It is going out of your control. Then you don't talk about it. You stop before that. So here you see that non-verbal communication is not possible online. And that's one of the things that makes students feel that they are in a classroom, and they probably will interact more if there is non-verbal communication. So then we move to the next stage, which is how might we. Okay, how might we is nothing but one single thing, which is here I will change it, and I will say that how might we bring in non-verbal communication in online classes. Now this is going to be our how might we. The moment I know that I am going to create this, the moment I have a solution that ensures that how might we ensure that there will be non-verbal communication also in online classes, I have solved my problem. This is how you create a problem statement. Now, if you remember your assignment, till now is where your assignment goes. It ends over here. You just
Sir, before we move on, sorry to interrupt. Before we move on, we are doing deep diving only for the blue arrows. What about the red arrows?
Here we didn't have red arrows, but if you have, you will start with the red arrows only. First, you will try to solve the red arrow. And
that is the priority.
Huh?
Red arrow should be the priority, then only we focus on blue arrows.
Absolutely. Red arrow first, blue arrow second. Green arrow, you don't need to do anything, it's fine. Okay.
So should we, sir, should we do a deep dive for every verbs we are using, or only for one or two which we think they are critical to this issue?
Okay, now very interesting question, very important. I'll give you from the aspect of a business. Okay, so in a business, what happens is when business is struggling, they look around, create this function model and see that what all things are going around, and they create all this kind of blue arrows. Once the blue arrows are done, they will find out, most of the time it happens that business A is doing almost same as the competitor, which is business B, and the blue arrows probably, the function model probably looks like same. Now the moment they try to improve one of the blue arrows, they are doing better than the other. Now you remember what Dr. Rao showed you, that if two companies are selling the same thing, the same process and the same price, the only thing that differs, or the decision-making thing, is how you serve them, right? So here also is the same. When you have 8 to 10 different blue arrows, if you work on only one and ensure that the blue becomes a green, then you are sure enough that yours has become way better than your competitor. Don't try to do, it's advisable not to do more than 2 arrows. I would rather say 1 arrow at a time, not even 2 arrows. 1 arrow at a time always, Why? Because now onwards you will see that it is more like a route. Once you have identified your problem, you will ideate on it, find few solutions. From that solutions, you will go ahead and identify few good solutions. From those few good solutions, you will try to create experiments and prototypes. So now you can see only one arrow can give you so much of work to do. If you take two arrows, then this is multiplied by 2. So definitely go ahead always with one single arrow at a time.
Okay, so for the assignment, you want us to do with only one particular problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Improve one thing in your system, whatever you're doing. Okay.
One more thing, while we do deep diving and we find some solutions for blue arrows, can we change them into red so the remaining diagram is clear for us to work on?
Red, or you want to?
Sorry, I mean green.
Once you are done completely, you have created a prototype, you have validated with the customer, or in case of you, if it is user, all your students are happy, everything is going good, make it a green. Then move on to next. And you can continue it till all your arrows become green.
Thank you.
Okay. So this was our how might we. And so this is still now is what your assignment also is, and also mainly beyond assignment is very important for you, because if you have done this part well, then you have done a great job. You hardly have anything more to left. Now we are going to design solution part 2. I'll just touch upon 1 or 2 slides on it, which is on ideation, and then we will take the rest of ideation in the next session. So here we will be talking about structured ideation. Okay, so you have done the problem identification. Now we are going to go into structured ideation. Here in this session, I will explain you just one thing, which is the journey from idea to innovation. And this is true for everywhere. This happens in organizations. Doesn't matter how big they are or how small they are. Sometimes smaller organizations make the mistake of jumping, which you should never. Even forget organizations, individual level also, you should follow this. If you follow this, I can guarantee you the success is going to be, the probability of success is definitely going to increase quite a lot. Okay. So what it says that you have something called a funnel. This is an idea funnel that we call. Okay. Most big organizations follow this idea funnel process. At the bigger end of the funnel is where you come up with a lot of ideas. We call it divergent thinking method. And we will talk in details in the next session, but divergent thinking method includes a lot of brainstorming. Generally, at this stage, you don't ideate alone. You have somebody with you with whom you ideate. At least more than 2 people is merrier. The more people, obviously don't make it too big a group, otherwise you will lose all focus. Make it, and probably you have seen the idea shopping cart video also. If you remember, if you have forgot to see the video, or if you don't remember the video, go back and watch it once more. You will see here how they are. There are certain principles they talk about, staying focused, encouraging each other's ideas, and all those stuff. All this happens at this stage, which is the divergent thinking part. Okay. Then we move slowly towards the convergent thinking part. And convergent thinking is where you have idea ranking. There are certain logic you put to rank your ideas and decide which are the top few ideas you are going to work ahead with. Okay. Those ideas move to the next part, which we call the hypothesize, which is where you are going to identify the assumptions that you have in your idea. Most of the times, even if you don't realize, we carry a lot of assumptions. And the other word here for assumptions is bias also. Sometimes there is bias in our mind, and that comes into play. Design thinking helps you to take away all your bias out of your mind. Okay, makes it clean so that you can think from a different perspective. Okay. So this stage is called the hypothesize stage. Post that, you move towards innovation, and that time is where you are making prototyping and validation. You're making the prototypes and you're validating with your customer. There are sometimes this also goes into a loop where if in case during validation you realize that people didn't like it, then you come back to again empathizing, understanding them, and again go through it. That's the design thinking methodology. You remember it was an iterative process, so it remains the same. Otherwise, this is how ideas, a lot of ideas, probably some 50, 60 ideas, eventually go to one or two innovative solutions. Fine. So yeah, that's it. Any questions on this now? All clear about how the ideation, structured ideation process follows?
Sir, for the analysis part, the functional modeling which you have said, suppose we don't know that the variables created are right or wrong by us, the variables which we have created, and we are trying to establish the relationship between them. So it has to be a picture mode, or it can be any other mode, because we may or may not be able to relate it with the picture all the time.
No, don't put them. Okay. In case you find that picture is confusing you, then you can use only words also. You can put boxes. The pictorial thing is all for the arrows and the verbs, so that you can visualize. You don't need to put representative pictures.
Okay. So we
Whatever
will do
works.
that. Yeah. Okay.
No problem. Okay. No questions. Everybody is clear. The structured ideation process. You are fine with that, right?
Yeah. One small suggestion I have. Yesterday's night quite late, somebody has sent mail saying that I want the telephone number of Mr. Sayant and I want to talk to him on this urgently for the clarification. So I desisted from disturbing you at that point in time. But if you can give them a couple of either document source or some website where they can refer to, that may be useful if they have any doubt. Although today the video is available on the YouTube, people can access it. But still, if some backup literature if it is possible to share, maybe that will help them to clarify their doubts.
I think what I can do is I'll share the slides if that is helping, because this actually is a culmination of a lot of different things, and if I give you those, it may confuse you a little more. So this part that I took you guys through, the defined part, a large part of it is coming from trees analysis also, and trees in its own way is quite complex. So you need to spend good time to understand trees in itself. So I can give you those links and all, but I would rather prefer for this assignment and to understand right now, because you are just entering into this domain, you are trying to understand these things. Better you refer to my presentation. I will share this all these slides with Professor Rao, and Professor Rao, you may share it with everyone.
This slide will do. If you share it as before the submission, you can take refer.
Okay. So by the end of today's end of the program, you will receive the slides in your mail. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, one more question. Like in this, suppose we have like more than 10 variables. We need to concise them to limit the number of variables, or we can have as many as you want.
No. You can have as many as you want. In fact, the detail you go, the better. But sometimes what happens is, sometimes your function model becomes very, very big, very difficult. Yeah. So then what you do, if you remember, we took a McDonald's infrastructure as one single chunk, and we showed that it slows down the user. Now, McDonald's tray is not creating a problem. The chair tables probably are creating problem, right? So when I see that there is a red arrow over there, I may bring it and I again break it into parts, and now see that chair, table, tray, how they are interacting with that individual. It's like from a small part, you go deep and you expand it more. You can do that. You can go ahead if you want to analyze more. Generally, in engineering, when you have a bigger product to analyze, people do it this way. Okay. In process also, when you are creating a system or a process innovation you are trying to do, then also you say, for example, a company wants to improve their manufacturing facility. They look at manufacturing as a whole, and within manufacturing, what all the different things they are doing, they can go ahead and check and create this kind of a similar function model.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No more questions, I guess. I think this is good.
Other questions?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the issue that you have given, or we can take our own issue?
No, you can take your own issue. I mean, something that you are comfortable with, you should take that only. We are not giving you any things to work on. You can take this.
So,
sir, I have submitted my interaction matrix today. So the assignment. So I have looked into a problem actually pertaining to the student-teacher interaction in realm of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And should I go ahead with one of the aligned parameters today? What do I need to do now?
Where you ended yesterday, ma'am, the interaction matrix, convert that into the function model, identify one area that you want to improve, do a deep dive, and create a how might we.
Okay. Okay. So you'll share those slides today, so we'll do it.
Yes, yes, yes. Just after this, I will be sharing with Professor Rao, and he will be sharing it with all of you.
Sir, this is collaborating, no? Two people can do one assignment, same assignment, right?
Not necessarily. Actually, we didn't want that. What we wanted is individually, each one of you have your own problem to solve. So the reason that the pairing was is to get a feedback from a peer, not doing two collaborative one single project.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, there are two questions. One is whether you should include the deep dive in today's assignment. It is not necessary. Deep dive can be included in tomorrow's assignment, which will be briefed to you in the next session. And
no, sir. Deep diving is something that they are going to do today. Like deep diving is a part of problem identification. So they are going to, when they are submitting tonight.
You want them to submit tonight itself then?
Yeah. So if you all look into the assignment that has gone there, you will see till deep dive and post that how might we. Till how might we you are supposed to submit. Okay. So you have submitted.
Sir, actually, that's for tomorrow. I think for today's assignment, Professor Bhaskar is right. I think.
No, tomorrow, end of the day when you are submitting something, that's going to be. Today we will be in the second session. We are going to talk about ideation part. So that will get included, and prototyping that will get included, and we will be presenting it day after. But at least for today, tonight, what you are going to submit is going to be till how might we problem statement.
Okay, I think it's 5 o'clock, and we will now hand over the session to the Art of Living. Vijayaji is already in the meet. Yes, Deepika, please.
Sir, I didn't get the link yet. I made this one, task ready.
No, I'll get back to you. I think we will deal with you. Don't worry, not to get worried. Don't get hassled. We will just relax with Vijayaji and Meenakshi, both are there. And welcome both of you, ma'am. So this session is over to you. Ma'am, you're on mute. You have to unmute.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Today we will start off with light facial yoga, to relax the facial muscles. So let's sit comfortably on our chairs. Hands are on the knees. Palms can face the ceiling or they can be turned the other way. Meenakshi ji, if you can share the video.
Yeah, just a minute, Vijayaji.
Let's close our eyes in the meantime and just observe our breath. A smile is absolutely mandatory. Now you can slowly open your eyes, place your palm on your head and start by massaging the head lightly. This is the part of the body that we use the most. Now with both hands, keep your awareness on the breath. Now the frontal lobes.
The eyebrows.
Now the eyebrows with your 2 fingers. She'll be giving the cue each time she'll, lift those fingers. Now with your thumb above the eyes and beneath the eyebrows, you'll just smoothen it out. Relax. And now the nose. Start from the bridge of the nose and bring the fingers down. Keep breathing. The cheeks. What happens is stress does tend to get accumulated and form, lumps in the cheek. So if you feel when you're smoothing it out that there's some lumps, with your fingers, ease them out. And with those 3 fingers, just pull them along your jawline. And if there are any knots anywhere, just ease them out with the tips, with your fingertips. Now the neck. Now the ears, most nerve, I think in fact all the nerve endings are in the ears. So massaging the ears impacts the whole body. You pull your ears in all directions first, and then we'll make them do cycling. Jogging. Now open your mouth wide and close. 3 times. Move the jaw to the right and to the left. As you breathe in, the head goes back. As you breathe in, it comes forward. Neck rotations. All these are exercises which can be done when you're sitting at your desk and which ease the strain. Relax. Now, placing the thumb on the temples, lightly press. Join the fingers at the back of the head, lightly press them. It's a stress buster. Relax. Now your eyes, open them wide and then blink. Open them wide, blink. Look up, down, up, down. The face is still, okay? Only the eyes are moving up and down. looking at the screens all day, the eyes would be fatigued. This helps. So keep rolling the eyes up and down. Blink again. Open wide and blink. Placing the right hand on the left shoulder, move the hand and move your head along. Spinal twist to strengthen the spine. Now the other side.
Shake, 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 shake.
Now shake your hand up and down, up and down. And relax. As you breathe in, the shoulders go up, and as you breathe out, it's basically you're pumping your shoulders. And relax. Now we'll sit with our eyes closed. And we'll do Nadi Shodhan Pranayam that we learned yesterday. Meenakshi ji.
Yeah, the alternative nostril breathing. So remember, we kept our left hand. We put it in a particular position. The fingers, the index and the thumb are lightly touching each other. And the left hand open to the ceiling is put on the thigh, on the left thigh. Your right hand, the middle and the index fingers are in between the brows. The thumb and the ring finger would be alternating between the nostrils. So to start with, we will close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale from the left nostril.
It's too orange. Is it almond? There is no cover.
Close the left nostril, release the right nostril and exhale. Inhale through the right nostril. Close the left nostril, right nostril, release the left nostril. This is one round. Let's do 8 more rounds, all by ourselves. Nice long deep breaths.
Once you complete 9 rounds, you can relax with your hands on your knees, palms facing the ceiling. Slowly open your eyes. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. You know, we off late, you would have noticed that we often use this in our everyday day-to-day life, you know, the word stress. So what is stress? Stress is basically there's too much to do and there's too little time or energy. We cannot increase time, but definitely we can increase our energy levels. Majorly, there are 4 factors that increase our energy levels that help to retain our energy. One is sleep. So the quality of sleep and the time, you know, and the quantity. So good quality sleep, good deep sleep, say for about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours in a day is good enough for the mind to be well rested and the physical body and the body too to be well rested. And food, second factor is food, the quality and again the quantity and then the time you eat. So having 6 to 7 helpings of fruits and vegetables is very good for the system. So make it an absolute necessity, including 6 to 7 helpings of fruits and vegetables in your daily diet. Having adequate amount of water, sipping water rather than gulping it down at one go is ideal. Yeah. And then third is a calm meditative mind. So this would mean listening to pleasant music once in a while, listening to an inspiring piece of poetry or a speech, reading a good book, having an interesting conversation, doing meditation. All these contribute to calming the mind and maintaining a calm mind. And a few minutes of meditation would give you the much deserved deep rest, you know, and Vijayavji would be guiding us later, so you can experience that. And fourthly, attending to the breath. We saw yesterday, right, that we can, through pranayam, through bringing our awareness to breath and doing breathing practices, we can increase the purifying power of the breath besides handling emotions. So a little more on the mind I would like to speak to you all about today. See, the quality of mind is dependent on the quality of our life is dependent on the state of the mind. Have you noticed often an innocent remark can trigger off a whole lot of emotions? You know, childish prattle, which otherwise you would have enjoyed, you would have found it irritating or you tend to get angry. Yeah, that's because of the mind. It's because the mind is so occupied with so very many things. So what is this about the mind that is causing so much of stress to the system? There is this vacillating nature in the mind. It oscillates, you know, between the past and the future. So when the mind goes into the past, what happens? There is regret. There is anger. Yeah. And then one tends to gloat over the past. Then when the mind rushes into the future, then there is fear. There could be anxiety. There will be planning that's happening all the time. There could be daydreaming. Yeah. So many possibilities. And the mind is seldom ever in the present moment. Yeah. And everything is happening right now in the present. If you would like to experience a present moment, I'll request you all to just snap your fingers. Yeah. Now. See, what we started with, that has already become the past. And we are really not very sure, like, you know, whether we are going to do it in the future or not. Right? Now. So this present moment, each time we are caught in anger or in anxiety, we cannot keep snapping our fingers, right? So here, pranayam and Sudarshan Kriya techniques, when practiced effectively, make this into not just a concept, but they bring it make it into a practical reality. And there's yet another tendency of the mind, that is whatever you resist, it will persist. That is, suppose you had an argument with a childhood friend, and you decide enough is enough, I'm not going to be in touch with this person any longer. You would have done that in the morning, but you will notice that in the night, how much ever you would want to forget, you cannot forget that incident. It keeps recurring and you're hardly able to sleep. It affects the quality of the day too, right? So that's the tendency of the mind. Yet another tendency of the mind is, it clings to the negative. Suppose someone were to say something negative, you will keep brooding over it. The mind keeps harping on that. Time and again, it keeps rising. Yeah. And yet another tendency of the mind is it exaggerates. Suppose there's suffering, 10% of suffering and 90% of enjoyment. It will say, oh, I've been suffering all my life. So that's again a tendency. Yeah. So yesterday we were asked to talk a little on anger. So we will talk on anger. See, anger and anxiety, these are, because of the tendency of the mind to oscillate past and the future. Anger is always about the past. Yeah. And anxiety is towards something that may or may not happen. So it is meaningless to hold on to both, right? You cannot alter the past. You can't do anything about something which may or may not happen. Often anger, can be broadly at oneself. It can be at others. It could be because of certain situations. Yeah. So the best way out of anger is doing the pranayama and the Sudarshan Kriya and meditations, which will bring you more into the present moment. See, I would like to quote Shri Ravi Shankar ji here. A strong mind can handle a weak body, but a weak mind cannot carry a strong body. So quite a few tips and all are there, if you were to Google search, but that's all at the intellectual level. As I said, to make it into your practical experience, certain practices will help you to come out of it. Yeah, over to you, Vijayaji. Can you guide us through meditation?
Yeah, now we'll experience the short guided meditation. We'll need to sit with our eyes closed and listen lightly to whatever is being told. No effort is required here. In the realm of mind, effortlessness is key. So we'll just sit comfortably, eyes closed, hands on the knees, palms facing the ceiling. Let's take a normal breath in. Breathe out. One more breath in. And relax. Become aware of the noises around you. Sound of the fan, traffic in the background. Accept all the noises. You are now in harmony with the environment. Breathe in and let go. Become aware of the body. This body is a beautiful gift from nature. Cherish it. Take your attention to your feet. knees, hips, back, abdomen, stomach, chest, shoulders, right arm, left arm, neck, face, forehead, back of the head, the whole body, the whole body. Breathe in and again breathe out. Become aware of your thoughts. Do not resist them. Let them come. Become aware of your feelings. You are peace. You are joy. With every breath, relax more and more. Become aware of your feelings and thoughts. Observe the sensations in the body. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Become aware of the environment, the noises around you. Very, very slowly and gradually, whenever you feel ready, you may open your eyes. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. You can carry over the questions to tomorrow. It's 5:28 now. We have 2 minutes.
Yeah, if any one of you have questions, you can ask them so that both the experts will answer tomorrow.
We hope you felt good.
It's good, ma'am. Always it is good. Some of them would have gone to sleep, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Right, ma'am. Thank you.
Very
And
cool, sir. It was relaxing. My question remains the same. Make your strong, emotionally strong. I said my question
yes, she
remains the
asked
same
a
as
question.
yesterday. How to make one? We'll discuss tomorrow. But my question remains the same as I asked yesterday. Thank you.
Emotional strength.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
How did you
Sorry?
Revati ji, how did you feel today? Good, ma'am. Relax. It is. I do it in the morning, but as per situation, I think it needs to be more brought into practice. We forget when we are in stressful situation. We forget this. So I think more of incorporation into practice needs, for my part, it needs to be taken up.
Yeah, few and even Vidya Sagar ji who had asked this yesterday, meditation, pranayamas, all these help, whatever questions you had asked. So anyway, we will talk more tomorrow. We are very glad you enjoyed it.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.